Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what part of the world you are watching from. Welcome back to the West Ham Network. My name's Anton, bringing you today's Hammers headlines in association with our good old friends, KUMB.com. I should have fixed that before you come in and start shouting at me and straightening up my pictures. Anyways, make sure you do jump across there, across to KUMB.com. Knees up, Mother Brown, of course. Fantastic content as per usual, but you're not here to listen just to me moan and groan about all things West Ham. I'm going to give you some of the updates this morning with everything to do with our beloved club, and rumours are rife talking about Guido Rodriguez and Real Betis are pushing for a move this summer as West Ham's transfer plans for the summer become a little bit more clearer. We're definitely looking that we're going to have a major squad overhaul again, and we expected that because of all the transitional periods we had over last summer. We expect this again. We've got players out of contracts galore. We've signed players under the old regime with Lopetegui, and now we have Graham Potter, and it looks like he's here for the long run. So there's going to be some movement and an overhaul this summer. And it looks like the Argentine midfielder Guido Rodriguez could be one of the first departures, with former club Real Betis keen on re-signing him. Now, according to reports in Spain, Rodriguez is open to returning to Spain, where he enjoyed a successful 4-year spell with Betis from 2020 to 2024, winning the Copa del Rey and establishing himself as a key figure in that midfield. But since joining West Ham on a free transfer, let me reiterate that, a free transfer. So if we do get a fee for the player, it's one of those deals that, pat on the back to the owners, not, that we actually make a bit of a profit on a player. But he has struggled to cement a starting role in this West Ham team under Graham Potter and even under Lopetegui to a certain extent. And I suppose there was times he was included that I didn't think he necessarily agreed. He didn't really have an impact in games. He was quite underwhelming. And I suppose that's prompted speculation that he will head out the door from West Ham. Betis were linked with a move for Rodriguez back in January, but they are now negotiating something in and around the €3 million marker to bring him back to Seville. And our struggles this season have really highlighted that he hasn't offered us that midfield stability, and that really could allow us to potentially open up and pursue different options in that midfield. It's a shame it's not worked out, but I suppose it was always a bit of a weird signing at the end of the day, and I think we maybe thought we could have had a diamond in the rough, but I think his age maybe didn't play into our hands. But I don't know. What do you think on potentially Guido Rodriguez heading out of the club and West Ham receiving a fee for him? Let me know and put it in the comments below. Next up is, and this could tie in well with the situation of what the overhaul is going to be, because we know how well Freddy Potts has been playing out on loan at Portsmouth in the Championship, and has had a run of 27 successive appearances, with 25 of those starts for Portsmouth. However, he has missed the last game and could be out for a few more games with a calf strain, but I don't think it's anything too serious. But I do think this will allow him to become a mainstay in the West Ham squad for next season. We have really seen the transition from the youth players being mixed up into the West Ham squad. So I do think there is an opportunity for him to step into the squad. Definitely, when players go out on loan, it's different to playing in that Premier League 2 setup. It absolutely is, because they're playing with men, they're playing the hard game. And if you ever remember, it's funny. You ever remember one of the interviews that years ago that James Ward-Prowse actually conducted, and he was talking about when he was at Southampton and when he was a younger boy, he illegally went out and played with Havant and Waterlooville because he needed to feel the real game of football, and that's why they sent some of the young players out on loan. No matter if it's the Championship, League 1 or League 2, it's about getting the physicality of the real game and being able to come back. But he looks like he's head and shoulders above some of the rest of the players, and he's definitely capable. And speaking to some Portsmouth fans, they're desperate to keep him, but they know they can't, and they know they won't, and they know he's going to go make a good career for himself. So fingers crossed he can be one of those players moving forward. And I'm quite excited about the future of what he can offer. He's 21 years old, and like I said, he's been out on loan a couple of times, and he's setting the standard, and I think it will be a really a good move for West Ham. He spent the season on loan with Wycombe in League 1 and excelled, and then he made the step up to the Championship, and you can only but see maybe the next step being the Premier League with West Ham. So it could mean that Potter could easily give him and give Potts a bigger opportunity to step up to the first team. And I think this summer is going to be really key. And I think definitely he will be in and around that first team squad next season. So let me know your thoughts on Freddy Potts again. Last but not least, West Ham are on the verge of signing highly rated young striker Daniel Cummings from Celtic. The move is expected to be finalised at the end of the season. Now, Celtic had been eager to retain Cummings and are reportedly frustrated at their inability to secure his long-term future at Celtic Park. And they value him quite highly, but it looks like West Ham have won the race to bring him to East London. For weeks, discussions took place between Cummings and West Ham, and they've been ongoing, and West Ham were looking to try and tie up the deal in the January transfer window. However, negotiations ultimately failed to produce agreement before that deadline, and now all the indications point towards the move being completed once the season concludes. Key figure that West Ham are looking to helped with this deal was Mark Noble, and he played a pivotal role in convincing Cummings to choose West Ham. Ex-WHU employee himself said a medical is needed and it's likely to be undertaken ahead of the player putting pen to paper at the end of the season and becoming a West Ham player in July this year. The deal is not official, but it looks like we are bringing Daniel Cummings in, one for the future, who has been banging in the goals for the Celtic B side in Scotland, and definitely one key figure for the future to keep an eye on. So keep your eyes peeled on that. And of course, there are going to be plenty of more loads more transfer rumours, and we're bringing them to you as much as we possibly can, and we're trying to kind of dissect them and think, is there any element of truth in them? So if I look through the Guido Rodriguez one, I can see that one happening. Of course we can. I think, he's not going to make it a mainstay in the West Ham team, and I think that's going to make business sense for West Ham. Freddy Potts coming to the club, and Daniel Cummings is one for the future, but I think we'll look at seeing and be interested to see what happens with the future of West Ham and our transfer dealings under the new regime. Anyway, that brings an end to the Hammers headlines today with KUMB.com. Make sure you go across there, check out the wonderful content. If you're new around here, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment. Come on, you irons, and I'll see you later on. Come on.